Priscilla. Caroline, bonjour. Auditeurs et internautes, bonjour également.
Alors, merci, vous pouvez rejoindre nous pour la séance de la PNQ, mauvaise liaison maritime entre Maurice et Rodrigues concernant le transport de marchandises au cœur de la private notice question du leader de l'opposition à l'Assemblée nationale ce matin. Xavier Duval qui questionne ministre de l'économie bleue et des ressources marines et de la pêche Soudi Modou. Xavier Duval, envie connaît, Jagdish, compte tenu de difficultés de la population et l'économie de Rodrigues, si le ministre capable gagne l'information depuis Maurice Shipping Corporation Limited, la raison du retard dans l'affrètement d'un nouveau bateau.
C'est une question en 5 volets que le leader de l'opposition, Xavier Duval, donc adresse au ministre des Pêcheries, donc au ministre de la Pêche, concernant surtout, comme on dit, Priscilla, affrètement un navire pour assurer la liaison maritime qui existait entre Maurice et Rodrigues. Surtout face à la difficulté d'approvisionnement qui régulièrement l'île Rodrigues gagnait, la population n'a pu faire face. Alors, dans la question, Xavier Duval, où les connaît, si une letter of intent, si une correspondance, une lettre inadressée à une compagnie, et il mentionne le nom de la compagnie, c'est la compagnie Shiny Vessel, Shiny Shipping and Trading Limited, et donc si sa compagnie-là est là en présence d'une lettre, et ensuite si finalement le legal clearance, c'est-à-dire le feu vert légal, est donné pour que sa compagnie-là opère un navire entre Rodrigues et entre Maurice et Rodrigues, également une décision que le conseil d'administration prend depuis octobre 2022 et surtout dernière réunion du conseil d'administration de Mauritius Shipping Company Limited concernant un tel projet. Et là, il concerne donc affrètement de navire Priscilla, certainement qui nous bouquetait, dans quelles conditions, et ça l'appel d'offre là, pas fin de mettre en application, c'est là que Xavier Duval, pour les connaître, quelles sont les raisons derrière un tel retard qui, d'après lui, peut affecter la population de Rodrigues.
Alors, nous pouvons tout de suite en direction de l'Assemblée nationale.
Announcement.
Honourable members, I have an announcement. In connection with the incident which occurred at the last sitting and which led to the suspension by the House of Dr. the Honourable Boulel. The Honourable member had engaged himself into an argument with the Chair, in the course of which he made certain disparaging remarks, challenging the legitimacy of the Chair, and also cast doubt on the election character, insinuating that the present holder of the office does not deserve this position. As it has been widely reported in the press, I wish for the record to bring some light on the mode of election of the Speaker. The Speaker, please, the Speaker is elected by the House and does not have to be a member of the National Assembly pursuant to Section 32(1)(a) of the Constitution, 1(a)(i) of the Constitution. In fact, in 1996, an amendment was brought to the Constitution by the then Labour MMM government to make provision, namely Section 32(1), to provide for the mode of election of a non-elected member as a Speaker, so that henceforth a non-elected member can be elected as a Speaker. Since then, the following personalities have been elected as a Speaker of the National Assembly in accordance with that provision. Sir Ramesh Jewlal, 1996 to 2000. Mr. Premnath Ramna, 2000 to 2005. Mr. Rajeshwar Prayag, 2005 to 2012. Mr. Rajak Piru, 2012 to 2014. Mrs. Santibai Hanumanji, 2014 to 2019. I thank you for your attention.
Papers have been laid.
Order and no comments.
Questions?
Clerk, continue.
Mr. Speaker, my private notice question is addressed to the Honourable Minister of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping. Whether in regard to the operation of a cargo vessel to service the inter-island trade between mainland Mauritius and Rodrigues, and in view of the considerable hardship caused to the Rodriguan population and economy, he will, for the benefit of the House, obtain from the Mauritius Shipping Corporation Limited information as to the reason for the delay in chartering a new vessel in the light of the following. A letter of intent for the chartering of a new vessel being issued on 12 August 2022 to Shiny Shipping and Trading Limited. B, legal clearance having been obtained. C, no responsive bid being received during a subsequent request for proposal exercise at the opening of bids on 27th October 2022. D, the MSCL board decision of 28th October 2022. And E, the special board meeting of MSCL on 16th November 2022.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to thank the Honourable Leader of the Opposition for having asked this question, as it gives me the opportunity to clarify the situation and allay the fears of our brothers and sisters of Rodrigues with regard to any possible disruption in the supply of commodities. The Mauritius Shipping Corporation Limited, as the national shipping line, assists government to fulfill its social obligations towards Rodrigues and Agalega by ensuring shipping connections between the islands and mainland Mauritius. Prior to 30th September 2022, the MSCL had two vessels, namely the MV Tokecha and the MV Black Rhino. The MV Mauritius Tokecha is owned by the MSCL and provides its service to Agalega mainly, while the MV Black Rhino had been chartered from Mastermind Shipping Company Limited to service Rodrigues. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the very outset, I wish to inform the House that any vessel serving Rodrigues must satisfy the following parameters. Firstly, to enter Port Matura Channel and Harbour. First, the vessel is limited by a maximum permissible draft of 6.5 meters at berth. The berth can accommodate vessel not exceeding a maximum length of 115 meters. And thirdly, the vessel has to be equipped with a bow thruster. And secondly, the vessel would be able to carry, this is very important, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the particular vessel should be able to carry heavy fuel oil in its bunker tanks for the account of CEB. These constraints affect the procurement exercise for chartering a vessel to service inter-island trade between Mauritius and Rodrigues. Mr. Speaker, sir, the charter party agreement for the Black Rhino expired on 30th September 2022. While the procurement exercise had started on 1st July 2022, the MSCL had made arrangements to avoid any disruption in the supply of commodities to Rodrigues. In that context, the following arrangements were made. One, the MV Black Rhino, while sailing for its dry docking to Oman, agreed to undertake a lost voyage to Rodrigues, carrying 164 laden containers of goods on its way to Oman. Second, the MV Mauritius Tokecha was exclusively dedicated to service Rodrigues. In that context, from October to date, it has already undertaken 6 back-to-back voyages, and not less than 947 laden containers, exclusive of break bulk cargo, have been shipped. Another voyage is scheduled for tomorrow, 30th November 2022, reaching Rodrigues on 2nd of December 2022 with around 136 laden containers. It is worth noting that compared to the same period last year, we'd be shipping about 73 less laden containers. MSCL has at all times ensure that there is no hardship caused to the Rodrigues population and its economy. Despite a protest staged yesterday in front of the office of the MSCL in Rodrigues, the details of the commodities shipped to Rodrigues during the last 2 months indicate that, amongst others, 121 containers equivalent to 96,800 pockets of cement, 2,420 tons were shipped. I'm informed that at that particular point in time, there were still undelivered containers with cement in the container park, means yesterday. Mr. Speaker, sir, on 1st July 2022, the MSCL launched an expression of interest seeking bids from shipping companies for the chartering of a multi-purpose dry cargo vessel for a period 1 year, in replacement of the MV Black Rhino. At the closing date of the EOI on 15 July, 8 bids were received and examined by an assessment committee set up by MSCL. The committee recommended that Chinese Shipping and Trading Limited be favorably considered as it was the lowest bidder and its proposed vessel met the key requirements that are essential to allow entry in the harbor of Rodrigues. In its offer, Chinese Shipping and Trading Limited had made a proposal for the chartering of 2 vessels, namely the MV Douro and the MV Black Rhino, for a cumulative period of 12 months. A non-committal letter of intent was issued by the MSCL to Chinese Shipping and Trading on 12 of August 2022 for the chartering of the MV Douro. Subsequently, Chinese Shipping and Trading Limited informed the MSCL that the MV Douro was available for inspection in Aqaba, Jordan, and the latter would replace the MV Black Rhino by end of September 2022 to service the inter-island trade. The daily charter fee was US $15,500. This amount was brought down to US $15,000 after negotiations between the MSCL and Chinese Shipping and Trading Limited. On 23rd September 2022, the advice of the Attorney General's Office was sought as to whether it would be legally in order for the MSCL to charter the MSM Douro as from 1st October 2022 to service the inter-island trade initially, pending the availability of the MV Black Rhino, who went for dry docking. The Attorney General's Office informed that, first, the Maurice Shipping Corporation Limited is, pursuant to Section 3A of the Public Procurement Act, exempt from the application of Part 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the PPA. That is, the procurement methods provided in the PPA shall not apply to MSCL, and it is not bound by the procurement methods. 2, there is no legal impediment for MSCL to charter MV Douro and MV Black Rhino as suggested if the company was satisfied, A, that Chinese Shipping Trading has quoted the lowest price, B, the MV Black Rhino will have an enhanced capacity and performance to assist MSCL, and C, with the terms and conditions for the charter of the 2 vessels for a duration of 1 year by Chinese Shipping and Trading.
Yes.
It's already, 15 minutes have gone or something? The question is long but very precise. What is the reason for the delay in chartering the vessel? That is the question. Why do we need to go into all this and unnecessarily restrict the time for questions? That's my question to you.
You may
Mr.
continue.
Speaker, so I'm explaining exactly the reason of the delay for taking the decision. My ministry had several meetings and discussions with the MSCL to clarify certain legal, financial, technical, and procurement issues regarding the EOI exercise. Several issues were noted, namely, the EOI was launched for the registration of service providers, ship owners, charterers, managers to deploy vessels on time chartering for financial year 2022-2023. Potential suppliers were called upon to provide a list of available vessels for chartering with an indication of their chartering fees. Second, proposal incorporating the daily chartering fees were received via email instead of them being deposited in the tender box of the MSCL as specified in the EOI. Third, Chinese Shipping and Trading Limited was a newly incorporated company registered on 16 March 2022, thus putting into question its experience in manning nautical and technical aspects. Fourth, one of the requirements of the MSCL was that the vessels should be less than 20 years old. However, it was noted that MV Black Rhino was 25 years old and its known owner, Mastermind Ship Management Limited, did not participate in the expression of interest. For the period 21-22, the daily chartering fee was USD 8,200 daily. However, the daily chartering fee proposed for the period 22-23 was 15,000 USD, an increase of 7,800 USD per day, amounting to an increase of 2,847,000 USD, representing an additional amount of approximately 128,175,000 rupees for 1 year. In view of the above mentioned issues, and given the high price hike in the proposed charter rates, that is 128,175,000 for 1 year, the MSCL was on 30th September 2022 advised by my ministry not to proceed with the signing of the charter party agreement based on the above UI, but instead to invite potential shipbrokers to submit their offers for the chartering of a vessel to replace MV Black Rhino in accordance with the Public Procurement Office guidelines for chartering of vessels. Accordingly, on 3rd October 2022, the expression of interest was extended to a list of 25 international shipbrokers to submit their offers. These 25 shipbrokers were chosen on the basis of a similar exercise with the same list of brokers previously carried out by the MSCL. As at closing date of 7th October 2022, only one shipbroker responded. The latter's offer was found to be technically non-responsive, thus the exercise was non-conclusive. MSCL was advised by my ministry to relaunch a request for proposal for the chartering of a multi-purpose dry cargo vessel to replace the MV Black Rhino. On 30th October 2022, the MSCL issued a request for proposal to all the firms which had participated in the EOI exercise, carried out in July 2022. The request for proposal was also published on the website of the MSCL for any prospective bidder to quote if they so wished. The closing date set was 27 October. At the closing date, only one bid was received and examined. This exercise was also non-conclusive, as the only bid received was found to be non-responsive. In light of the above developments, the MSCL Board of Directors met on 28 October 2022, and considering that it had already explored all possible avenues unsuccessfully, resolved that a two-member team be mandated to engage with Chinese Shipping and Trading Limited, which were the lowest and only responsive bidder in the initial exercise, to secure an agreement for the chartering of a cargo vessel to ensure continuity of inter-island trade between Mauritius and Rodrigues, which otherwise may lead to a crisis situation in terms of availability of essential commodities to the Rodriguan population, especially during the coming festive season. The negotiations were conclusive, and the company agreed to deploy MV Douro for 2 months, pending the arrival of the refurbished MV Black Rhino, which would then take over the MSM Douro service to service the inter-island trade for the remaining 10 months. Chinese Shipping and Trading had also accepted to maintain its negotiated discounted daily charter fee of USD 15,000 over a time charter period of 12 months. Despite the positive conclusion of negotiation with Chinese Shipping and Trading, it was still considered that the daily rate of 15,000 USD was on the high side with regard to the market trend. Thus, my ministry made a request on 3rd November 2022 to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration to consider seeking the assistance of countries where we have diplomatic and consulate representation to try to find, through shipping majors, a cargo vessel with the specific requirements that would suit the harbor in Port Mature. as at closing date of 15 November 2022, no offer was received. Then, at a special board meeting held on 16 November 2022, approval was obtained for the chartering of the MSM Douro and the MV Black Rhino, pending vetting of the two charter party agreements from Chinese Shipping and Trading Limited by the Attorney General Office. Despite the above, the MSCL pursued its effort to look for potential replacement vessel to service Rodrigues. Negotiations were held with brokers, owners, charterers of two other vessels. One was ruled out, and as it was technically not appropriate, last Friday, on Friday 25th of November 2022, a virtual meeting was held with the owner-broker of the second vessel. The daily charter rate was $11,500 USD for a period of 6 months. It was found to be responsive, and two officers were designated to travel to Dubai the next day to inspect the vessel. Unfortunately, at the last moment of the same day, means 25th of November, the master of the vessel informed that it would require a tug of 60-ton bollard pull to berth the vessel, which was not available in Port-Maturin and confirmed by the MPA. While consideration was being given to the second vessel, the MSCL was informed by Chinese Shipping and Company Limited that it was willing to revise the daily charter rate downwards. Means on Friday last, to USD 12,500 for MV Black Rhino, which would be available at Port Louis Harbour around 24th of December 2022. Based on this new proposal, it was noted that comparatively the offer of Chinese Shipping was more attractive, as the second vessel had other costs which made it more onerous than other offers. Mr. Speaker, sir, since the MV Black Rhino will not be available before 24 December 2022, arrangement had to be made for the continuity of supply to Rodrigues until that date. I would like to inform the House that AFCON was already chartering the MV Douro, and which was loading cargo in Agalega on Saturday, 26 November 2022. After negotiation, AFCON has agreed to postpone its chartering agreement with Mastermind Ship Management Limited so that the MSL can avail of the vessel. In return, MSL has agreed to put the MV Trokecha at the disposal of AFCON for the repatriation of its workers in Agalega. Mr. Speaker, sir, as time is of the essence, the MSCL has agreed with Mastermind Ship Management Limited, the owner of MV Douro, for the chartering of the vessel for a period of 1 month, means December. The vessel is due to reach Port Louis Harbour tonight. There are a few issues to be clear with regard to the charter party agreement. Once cleared, it will be signed by both parties. The daily charter rate of the MV Douro is USD 12,500. This arrangement will ensure that there would be no disruption of supply in Rodrigues during the festive period. The MSCL is still in negotiation to secure the services of a vessel for the period January to September 2023. The MV Black Rhino is one of the options being considered. The House would appreciate the commitment of the MSCL all the way to ensure the continuity of supply to Rodrigues with only one vessel. At the same time, while the exercise for the procurement of a vessel with the requisite characteristic is a dynamic process, my ministry has to ensure that value for money principles are adhered to, and the concept of transparency, accountability, and good governance must prevail at all times.
Mr. Speaker, sir, two parliamentary questions, 1 week apart, and two completely different answers. Last week, in a reply to Honourable Armas, the Honourable Minister clearly stated, and I'm quoting from Hansard, MSCL did launch several expressions of interest, etc., etc. They have all been unsuccessful, as none were found to be technically responsive. And just now, a few minutes ago, the Honourable Minister tells us that there was one technically responsive, the Douro Black Rhino. So how can you, within 1 week, tell us there's no technically responsive and there is one technically responsive 1 week later. Which is which?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we all know that MV Black Rhino has been servicing Rodrigues for the past 2 years now. So, Mastermind is the same owner of MV Black Rhino and MV Duro. The proposal was 15,500. That was the issue. So, in fact, we relaunched the EOI so many times, 2 or 3 times. But I do understand that initially being given that the price proposed by Chinese shipping was on the high side. That was the reason that we have to relaunch all the exercise.
I'm going to invite the minister and everyone to reread his PQ, answer to his PQ last week. He never mentioned at any point in time the issue of cost. Never, never. You only mentioned the fact that you had no responsive bids. Today, a week later, you tell us that you had one responsive bid, but you're not happy with the price. So what was it? It was not the truth that you were telling us last week. You're changing the truth now from 1 week to the next.
Mr. Speaker, all the way we have tried to be transparent and to get value for money. That was the issue.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to ask now the Honourable Minister. Last week, and this time he's saying the same thing this week, he told us that there are no shortages in Rodrigues. That is the case. Huh? And for some reason, people decided to demonstrate. They must have been off their heads. Well, Mr. Speaker, is he aware? I'm sure he's aware because he received a copy of a letter on the 22nd of November from the Chief Commissioner of Rodrigues, saying, in fact, that the situation has become critical. Has become critical, and you're nodding, so you're aware of that. Has become critical, there are shortages, there's hoarding, and it will become even worse because we're facing the peak period. So how can he come to say on 2 occasions in this House, 1 week now and now, 1 week before and now, that there are no shortages in Rodrigues, that the people are dreaming when they say there are shortages?
Mr. Speaker, sir, this outcry, which was done yesterday, was planned before the arrival of the MV Tokecha on 17th November 2022. It was planned when you see all the papers that the people were showing yesterday on this outcry, that was on cement. So this was planned before 17th of November with the same slogan. But on 17th November, there was no manifestation because Tokecha was there with 60 laden containers of cement, 48,000 pockets, and this issue had already been addressed. As at Saturday, 26 means last Saturday, I'm informed that there were still 2 undelivered containers in the port area. Also, Mr. Speaker, sir, our manager responsible for MSCL Rodrigues carries continuous survey and regularly updates MSCL on the status of availability of supply in shops. I'm tabling his latest report. I just want to show to the House that even I've got some pictures. I'll show it to the leader of the opposition, which was taken this morning. So, in fact, all these issues have been resolved. So, this was a plan, thing that was done for cement before 17th, but they did it amazingly after the arrival of cement.
The Chief Commissioner wrote to the Prime Minister, copied to you on 22nd November. After the 17th November, mentioning cement, mentioning bottled water, crucial for the tourism industry, and mentioning shortages of other goods on the island. Now, if we are to believe you that there were no shortages, then why are you hiring the MSM Duro? Why are you hiring that ship to go for an additional trip if there are no shortages? How can you reconcile the two statements?
Okay, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is obvious, it is not new. Normally, every time during the festive season, even when we had 2 vessels, there was obviously increase in the demand for Rodrigues. This is a normal feature. As I explained, despite we had 1 vessel, we only are late with 73 containers. Obviously, MSCL and the ministry, we are trying hard, and maybe in the few days, we have to hire to be able to meet the requirement. So we have already taken that decision because we don't want any disruption in the continuity of all the goods that should be sent to Rodrigues.
The minister will understand that cement, etc., is hampering the economy. I'm going to come now. I'm happy that you have been able to get a reduction in the price, the daily rate, because it was much higher than before. Now, if I understand correctly, you are going to take that ship, the Douro, for up to December. And then you will launch again your expression of interest, etc., to try and get new ships. Is that what you're saying?
No, Mr. Speaker, as I said, means negotiation is still on with other brokers, other owners. And Black Rhino also is one of the options.
There are one-to-one negotiations you're having like this, friendly negotiations.
No,
Are you going to go? Let me finish.
No, Mr.
This
Speaker,
is friendly
sir.
negotiation
There
you're
is a
having
protocol.
one-to-one, or you're going to launch a request for proposal?
No.
You already stated your question. Your
Mr.
reply?
Speaker, sir, there is a protocol with regard to procurement of vessel. We have to appoint a broker, and normally we deal for the brokers who contact the owners and make the offers. So this is the normal procedure how to go with regard to chartering of vessel.
You yourself said that whatever happened in July was not exact, etc., and you launched an expression of interest, and you were not happy, and you asked them again to do a request for proposal, and that was ended on 28th of October. So I'm asking you again now, are you going to go again for a request of proposal formally, as you did in October? This is a question, straight question.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I think the leader of opposition, they just said, mentioned it. The fact that Chinese shipping has brought his quoted price from 15,000 to 12,500, this is the ample evidence that the ministry was correct, that the market rate was lower, and by so doing, MSCL can say have saved more than 60 million rupees. If we had agreed to Chinese shipping first offer, means 60 million rupees additionally. So we are still negotiating with Chinese shipping with regards to the market trend of chartering rate. So actually
You are
we also-
negotiating with other ship brokers. You said so yourself. So there will be, although the company is not under the Public Procurement Act, you have, up to now, the company has respected the provisions of that act. So are you going now to divert from respecting the provisions of the Public Procurement Act in terms of hiring a vessel to the tune of 200 million rupees annually? That is the cost, obviously. Or are you now going to go to one-to-one negotiation with brokers, etc., etc.? That is the question.
Right now, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have already negotiated with MV Douro for the 1 month. With regard to the continuation for next year, in hand we have the offer of Black Rhino. We are still considering that one. Obviously, the price is a main component of the negotiation, and I do understand that Chinese shipping, because 8,200 to go to 15, to coming back to 12,500. Again, we got information that is ready to decrease. It all depends. As I said, time is of the essence. If you are going, because you have to continue in January, it all depends if Chinese shipping is agreeable to lower the rate as per the market price. For chartering of vessels.
Mr. Speaker, it's a fact that freight rates had increased a lot, and last in a month or two, they have started to fall. This is quite correct. So my point is not that they are starting to fall. My point is, what is going to be the procedure for agreeing with Chinese shipping? Are you going to talk one-to-one and say, you drop it 5 rupees, not 250, and this and that? Or are you going to negotiate that way, as if you're buying potatoes in the market? Or are you, in fact, going to go for a proper, transparent bidding exercise so that we have a proper price as from 1st of January?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we will give directive to the MSCL to, first of all, the main factor should be that there should be no disruption for Rodrigues. This is our essence. We can't go away from this one. Now we have to be, as far as possible, transparent. Obviously, whatever decision we were going to take, we'll get the Attorney General Office will be informed that we are in line with all the legal procurement procedures. But at the end, what we need to follow that we got value, as I said, value for money. I did point out that Chinese shipping is lowering the price. We'll see what will be his next proposal. Again, there's a time factor. If we are able to hire another vessel within this 1 month, everything will be done in all transparency. If you have to venture for new bid.
We all know that the MSCL doesn't fall under the Public Procurement Act, so it's no need to tell me that it's legal, etc. We all know that it is exempted. So it's a question of good governance rather than legal provision, and that was the question. Why we asked you the question, because there is, when we are talking about such a lot of money involved, there is always the temptation for funny business. And that is what my question. Now, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Honourable Minister concerning the actual ship that is coming in, I think, now at the end of 2023. Can you confirm now that it's going to be in Mauritius, the new ship from China, around September 2023?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, sir, I did answer to this question, Honourable Leopold, with regard to the new vessel, because of COVID it has been delayed, but as confirmed by the yard, it's will ready by end of September 2023.
Time over.
Et voilà donc pour cette PNQ de Xavier Duval concernant la liaison maritime entre Maurice et Rodrigues. Concernant le transport de marchandises, donc Xavier Duval qui questionne le ministre de l'économie bleue, des ressources marines, de la pêche, Soudi Modou. Xavier Duval, tu peux envie connaît, donc compte tenu de difficultés de la population et l'économie de Rodrigues, si le ministre capable gagne l'information depuis Maurice Shipping Corporation Limited, l'eau raison du retard dans l'affrètement d'un nouveau bateau. Alors, dans un premier temps, le ministre Modou fait un rappel donc qu'il y a 2 bateaux qui assurent le transport de marchandises à Rodrigues et à Galega, donc Black Rhino et Troquetia. Et elle fait un rappel des conditions pour qu'ils assurent ce transport-là. Elle fait dire aussi donc qu'au 30 septembre 2022, donc le contrat de Black Rhino finit terminé et entre-temps donc à ce jour de octobre à ce jour, Troquetia finit faire 6 allers-retours. Le prochain voyage donc c'est prévu pour demain. Il y a un conteneur de ciment qui finit transporter et il y a encore 2 conteneurs qui sont toujours ici. Donc le ministre Modou dit que l'appel d'offres fin lancé pour remplacer Black Rhino. Il y a 8 propositions dans un premier temps, 8 soumissions, donc 2 lowest bidders qui fin prend en considération toujours dans un premier temps. Parmi il y a Shiny Shipping. Et le ministre Modou donc fin dire par la suite qui pas final de l'avant avec cette proposition de Shining, avec la proposition de Shining Shipping en raison du coût. Les dire qui par la suite finira l'autre proposition qui fin faire auprès de 25 compagnies, mais personne pas fin responsive. Les dire aussi au final finira un lutte l'appel d'offres qui fin lancé et un là-dedans qui est technically responsive, c'est le MV ou MS Euro, dont la compagnie c'est Mastermind. Et donc, aux dernières informations, nous comprenons que jusqu'ici, il y a une négociation qui est toujours en cours pour assurer le transport de marchandises à Rodrigues. Donc, le ministre Modou dit que la priorité, c'est gagner un bon deal. Il évoque donc que jusqu'ici, négociation en cours toujours concernant le prix. Jagdish pour de nous une précision par rapport au prix, donc qui fin soumissionnaire fin proposé. Et donc, Jagdish, donc, qui nous retenir d'autres lors de cette PNQ?
Oui, c'est toute la question, toutes les procédures qui peuvent suivre concernant et affrètement ben, navire pour desservir Maurice à Rodrigues, surtout le transport de marchandises, ciment, produits de consommation, gaz et également l'huile lourde pour le Central Electricity Board. Alors là, le ministre Modou, il explique tout ça, cette procédure-là. La raison et la question liée avec la compagnie Shiny, qui Xavier Duval il évoquait, qui déjà tient une letter of intent, donc une expression d'intérêt en faveur de sa compagnie-là, mais qui fait finalement autant de retard. Et d'après lui, Rodrigues peut souffrir d'un manque de certains produits, ce que le ministre peut démentir, peut dire non, au contraire, et n'a suffisamment. La raison du retard, d'après le ministre, c'est le coût, c'est-à-dire le transport maritime entre Maurice et Rodrigues, ce que ça représentait. D'après lui, au départ, c'était 15 000 $, donc le duty rate, généralement appliqué, 15 000 $, nous pensons c'est par jour qu'il y en a pour payer, c'est-à-dire une compagnie ou ce service retenir pour un bateau. Alors, le board, le conseil d'administration, finit revoir un petit peu sa procédure-là, et surtout que la procédure de procurement n'est pas appliquée dans le cas de shipping, l'exempté de sa bonne procédure qui fait dans l'allocation d'un contrat. Et là, fin retourne au départ à 12 000 $, le prix baissé encore, il est environ à 11 500 $ pour un délai de 6 mois. Donc, pour une période de 6 mois, le bateau en question pour capable être retenu. Et là, Xavier Duval peut dire, est-ce qu'il peut faire une friendly negotiation? Est-ce qu'une négociation peut faire, comment dire, passer pomme de terre, pomme d'amour, ou bien peut faire une négociation pour un accord avec une compagnie, surtout gros l'argent impliqué, concerné, alors, bien, beaucoup plus professionnel. Mais le ministre Modou, il expliquait, voilà, une difficulté qui peut gagner. Il intéresse déjà différentes compagnies, brokers internationales, fin sollicité, mais malgré tout, il n'a beaucoup de réponses à une demande qui le gouvernement peut faire. Mais là, il y a quand même un dernier bateau, un navire de la Chine qui possiblement, à partir de septembre 2023, qui pour capable d'être affrété si bonne négociation aboutit. Xavier Duval, il mentionne la compagnie chinoise concernée, alors il demande qu'il y ait beaucoup de transparence dans la négociation en ligne avec une procédure légale qui est besoin appliquer. Et nous rappelle que le Troquetia, il a déjà été servi et Rodrigues. Ensuite, le Black Rhino, c'est que le ministre indien au départ, il remplace le MV Anna en 2019 et après la vente de Mauritius Pride qui fait une vendée, on pensait avec les Maldives. Donc le MV Anna, il entre en action pour une desservir Rodrigues, mais après l'expiration du contrat, donc pas finéna de renouvellement. Donc transport du cargo, pas passager, il concerne surtout transport du cargo, alors que le Troquetia est surtout assuré pour transport environ 112 passagers et à chaque voyage. Mais là, ce service sollicité, ce service est donc utilisé pour capable amener un produit de consommation et un produit de construction à Rodrigues. Et là, les films mentionnent d'ailleurs un certain nombre, environ 121 conteneurs qui n'allaient. Il y en a environ 21 conteneurs concernant le ciment. Et d'ailleurs, d'après le ministre, il y en a 2 qui peuvent encore être, c'est-à-dire déchargés et tout le monde est toujours à bord. Ensuite, il y a une manifestation concernant le manque de ciment. Et là, le ministre peut dire sa manifestation-là, il utilise déjà prévoir, planifier avant l'arrivée de Troquetia avec ciment et qui donc, sa question-là, il n'est plus posée, même si Rodrigues peut dire qu'il y a un manque de produits. Et Xavier Duval, il mentionne une lettre qui le chef commissaire, il adresse au Premier ministre et au ministre des Pêcheries pour dire qu'il y a un produit qui est arrivé manqué à Rodrigues, donc bizarre, prendre une disposition, surtout pour les fêtes de fin d'année, pour qu'il y ait un produit-là pas manqué à Rodrigues.
Une retenue aussi, donc, qui, négociation, ce qui concerne les négociations, négociation également en cours avec le Black Rhino.
Oui, avec le Black Rhino, et qui finit déjà, et donc, être utilisé, c'est-à-dire, quand il remplace le MBANA, donc, un contrat expiré, ensuite, une compagnie, je finis et assure le service ailleurs. Alors maintenant, une fois qu'on est libéré, donc à ce moment, capable de négocier et conclure un contrat avec le Black Rhino.
En tout cas, la négociation toujours en cours, nous pouvons attendre. Et Jagdish, un petit peu plus bonheur, le speaker de l'Assemblée nationale, Rodrigues des Fouquier, fin revine l'incident qui est arrivé la semaine dernière avec, comme résultat, la suspension de Arvin Boulel, qui d'ailleurs est devant Parlement un petit peu plus bonnet avant qu'il donc Parlement prend, donc les petit peu contester sous suspension. D'ailleurs, ce matin, l'eau Radio Plus, l'étudiant qui y a donc l'intention pour un recours à donc une action en cours.
Une action en cours. Alors là, le speaker au départ, en début de séance, il finit faire allusion à l'argumentation qui lui-même l'Itiena avec Arvin Boulel et qui amène à l'expulsion de Arvin Boulel pour les 4 prochaines séances. L'idée qu'Arvin Boulel, il y a un doute autour élection comme speaker. Alors, et ça fait widely reported, donc, fin faire état dans la presse. Et là, il évoque le mode d'élection, procédure, élection, un speaker au Parlement. Il cite la Constitution, la clause 42, une de la Constitution, que le Parlement, en 1996, il prend une décision pour amender la Constitution pour qu'il y ait quelqu'un qui non élu, qui pas un parlementaire, un non-elected member, donc il est capable d'être élu, désigné par la majorité comme un speaker. Et il cite certains, je pense, environ 5 noms qui assument les fonctions de speaker et qui partent députés, Ramesh Dioulal, Finena Premna Tramna, Kailash Prayag, Razak Pirou et Madame Anoumandji, la dernière, qui donc assume ses fonctions juste avant que Rodrigues des Fouquier soit élu comme speaker.
Et là...
Oui. Mais et ensuite, à l'extérieur, le Parti travailliste et le MMM ensemble, je fin protester, je fin solidarise avec Arvin Boulel environ 11h20, 11h25, et Patrick Assiavaden fin même annoncé à la presse qu'ils ont dans l'intention internationalise sa expulsion qui peut faire dans le Parlement, attire l'attention de l'instance internationale, surtout l'international socialiste, pour qui, et donc, dérive dans le Parlement, ce qu'ils ont qualifié comme une dérive et une action arbitraire du speaker, pas continuer, et comment ça a été en ce moment.
La séance de la PMQT qui fait que démarrer, Jagdish, parmi les questions qui pour retenir l'attention, donc c'est l'enquête du CCID, l'eau rénovation bureau directeur de l'ICA, qui a 14 questions en fait qui est adressée au Premier ministre ce matin. Donc parmi l'eau, la drogue, côté mineurs et jeunes de moins de 25 ans. Question d'ailleurs qui peut dérouler en ce moment. Donc question
très importante.
De Nando Boda.
Nando Boda, qui est un ancien ministre dans le gouvernement actuel, il finit démissionner, donc bientôt presque 2 ans. Alors, l'IP pose une question très importante qui concerne la jeunesse et surtout les mineurs, ensuite les jeunes qui, jusqu'à l'âge de 25 ans, pour demander le Premier ministre si il y a l'information du commissaire de police sur le nombre de jeunes concernés, involved dans les drug offenses, c'est-à-dire qui finissent commettre un délit de offense pour la drogue, et surtout et qui ma disposition peut prendre et qui l'enquête fin initiée également raison donc qui fait ça le nombre de cas qui fin logés en cours. C'est une question très importante pour cela, surtout vu le nombre de jeunes qui actuellement c'est-à-dire je menacé par le fléau de la drogue, la noitane, et qui le Premier ministre peut répondre à sa question-là.
La PMQT, c'est à suivre évidemment la page Facebook défimedia.info. Merci, Jacques Paul.
Merci Priscilla. Voilà donc une question, bonne question qui retenait l'attention au Parlement. Et là, nous espérons, Papouina, comme chaque semaine, ça a été une tradition, Papouina, l'autre expulsion du Parlement.
Et voilà donc pour ce compte rendu à suivre à 13h, donc dans le journal de 13h, de larges extraits de la PNQ. À très bientôt.